Welcome into the Commanders Report live show. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we haven't been live in a little bit here. Since last Thursday, we haven't been live for you guys, so we had no live show last week. Of course, we were on Thursday Night Football, and that was the only time we went live last week. So this is finally an opportunity here to get you guys some good Commanders content in the middle of the week. And shout out to all the real ones stopping by here at the beginning of today's show. Type real one down there in the comment section for a shout out. We'll give out those shout outs here in just a second, but first, on tap for today's edition of the Commanders Report live show, Jayden Daniels versus Bo Nix is our first segment today. There's been some hype surrounding Bo Nix potentially taking the Offensive Rookie of the Year trophy away from Jayden Daniels. I'll let you guys know my take on both quarterbacks, give you guys a full scouting report on both, what they're doing well, what they're not doing well, and I'm going to let you know who I think is the Offensive Rookie of the Year to this point in the NFL season. Then we get to preview this Week 12 matchup here in what really I consider to be a must-win almost situation. I know the Commanders are sitting at 7-4, but the Cowboys stink, man. You're at home. It's a get-right kind of game situation for the Commanders. This is a big one for Washington this week. I'll let you guys know team trends, keys to victory, and of course my score prediction, and our second segment today previewing this week's matchup against the Cowgirls, and then also the Commanders Report live Q&A will be our final segment today. So if you want to get a question on today's show, you want to be right next to me right here, go ahead and use hashtag Commanders or Super Chat down there in the live chat below if you guys want to get on the show. So the way that works, guys, is you go down there in the live chat and you put your question in there like hashtag Commanders. Will Jayden Daniels win Offensive Rookie of the Year? Then producer Joey will see that question and hopefully put it on the mailbag. The only way to guarantee your question gets on the show, though, is if you super chat your question. So just so you guys know that. Then also if you want to send in a donation and kind of tip me and Joey here for the work that we do for you guys here on the Commanders Report, giving you guys free and informative Commanders content every single day. You guys can Venmo me at Jack-Sperry or Cashapp, money sign Captain Jack 19. And then on PayPal at Captain Jackrabbit. If you guys want to put in $50 total in donations today, you guys get to join Hog Mafia for life. So IQ Barbecue, Marco Gorman, Omar's Burner, Lord Buddy Bear, Luke O'Gorman, TJ, Commando Mike, James Howard, Russell Hance, Jerry Gettings, Jimmy R, and Luis are our Hog Mafia members. What you guys get is that awesome Hog Mafia sticker next to your Super Chats for life. And then also, you get a shout-out on every single Commanders Report live stream. So if you want to join Hog Mafia today, it's $50 in total donations. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. With that, let's bring on our producer, Mr. Joey Petersen. Joey, how are you doing today, my friend?
Doing great, man. It's good to be back on. It has been a while. Thursday night kind of threw our game off, man.
Yeah, we always do one live show per week. Last week, our live show was the watch party, right, on Thursday. And then, of course, we didn't go live during the weekend because there was no game. So I think that today is an awesome opportunity to do some content, we haven't really been able to get to here over the last week or so. And we got a bunch of great stuff on tap for the Commanders fans today.
I know you'll talk about it in the cut, but have you been surprised with how Bo Nix has been playing these past couple weeks?
I mean, a little bit. I always thought that he would be an excellent fit with Sean Payton and what he likes to do there in Denver. I do think that offense helps him out a little bit because there are a lot of screens on early downs and, a lot of, lots of answers, let's call them, for him. So it's a very quarterback-friendly offense if you can handle all the checks and they do put a lot on the quarterback's plate there in Denver. You set protections, you set audibles, you hot routes, all this stuff. It's on the quarterback. So Bo Nix is a very intelligent player. That's something we've known for a long time now. And I thought that, with his skill set, it was really a great fit between him and Sean Payton there in Denver. And heck, man, he's been playing really good football. We're going to talk about him a little bit today, give you guys a full scouting report both on Jayden and on Bo Nix, what they're doing well, what they're not doing well, and kind of this race for Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's a really fun race in the National Football League. So type those me's in the comment section right now for a shout out on the show. We got Cheap Sheep. We got Mark Anderson, Timothy. We've got John here. What's up, John? Says King is here. Mingo, Richard Barker, Eugene. My man Eugene is here. We've got Daniel, Richard Barker, Dill Pickle. And then fully, I think Cassie, my girlfriend, is in here. There's Cassie. She puts her me in there. She's usually in there right away there, Joey. She was waiting a little bit today.
She's the biggest supporter.
She's the biggest supporter of me and our channel here at the Commanders Report. So big shout out to Cassie. Everybody spam those Cassies, by the way. If you love Cassie, you want to show her some support, spam those Cassies for me down there in the comment section. All right, I'm not going to make you guys wait any longer here. First segment of the day, Jayden Daniels versus Bo Nix. The Offensive Rookie of the Year race is heating up. I'm going to compare their stats, and I'm going to give you guys full scouting reports on both of these guys. And then also we're going to be getting into our Week 12 preview for the Cowboys game later in today's show. So make sure you guys stick around. And then, of course, hashtag Commanders down there in the live chat or super chat to get your question on the Commanders Report mailbag this afternoon. Without further ado, let's get into our first segment right now. Jayden Daniels versus Bo Nix. The race for Offensive Rookie of the Year in the National Football League is heating up between the Denver Broncos quarterback Bo Nix and the Washington Commanders' Jayden Daniels. So today on the show, I'm going to be breaking down these guys' stats. I'm also going to be telling you guys and breaking down my full scouting report on both of these guys. And by the end of today's video, I'm going to tell you who I would give Offensive Rookie of the Year to as it stands right now in the 2024 NFL season. Welcome into the show. I am your host, Jack Sperry. Before we get into the content today, get down there in the comment section and let me know. How concerning have the last two games been for Jayden Daniels? They've lost to the Steelers and they've lost to the Eagles. Let me know down in the comment section on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not concerned at all to 10 being I'm panicking. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. For me personally, I'm sitting at about a 4 or a 5. All right, so first up here, let's compare the stats so far. So there's kind of 3 layers to stats that I'm going to be breaking down here. The first one is going to be kind of base level stats. Second, we take a little bit more nuance. And then the third, we get into the advanced metrics, okay? So by the numbers here, I do think that the people saying that Bo Nix should be the Offensive Rookie of the Year have a case. Now, for that matter, the people that want Jayden Daniels to win Offensive Rookie of the Year this year also have a case, because we're going to look at the numbers here in just a second, and they're very comparable, okay? They are very, very close in all 3 levels of analysis here. So we take a look at the first layer here, and this is your classic completion percentage, yards, touchdowns, turnover-worthy plays, and that sort of thing. Right now, Jayden is completing a higher percentage of passes as it has more total yards, but Bo Nix has been the more efficient passer with over a yard more per attempt than Jayden Daniels in their respective rookie careers. Bo Nix also has more total touchdowns, 4 more than Jayden has, but he also has 1 more turnover-worthy play. He has 6 interceptions to 1 fumble to Jayden Daniels' 3 interceptions and 3 fumbles. So those are very comparable. Then we take a little bit more of a deeper dive here into the second level, and this is more of like the average depth of target, the pressure rate, a little bit more nuance here, okay? So Bo Nix is throwing the ball down the field a little bit further than Jayden Daniels. Bo Nix is also taking a little bit more time to throw than Daniels is. Daniels is actually doing a really good job getting the ball out on time. So that's a credit to him. The catchable ball percentage goes to Jayden Daniels slightly, but the on-target percentage, which is precision accuracy, Bo Nix has Jayden Daniels beat just slightly in that regard, and they're both facing a very similar level of pressure, with Jayden taking just a little bit more so far this season. Then we get into the advanced metrics here, starting with big-time throw percentage. Jayden has Bo beat slightly in that regard. Then turnover-worthy play percentage, pretty much identical. The positive play percentage, it goes to Jayden Daniels with 47.9. The EPA, which is an advanced metric, almost over double for Jayden Daniels than what it is for Bo Nix so far this year. But the points above replacement, a different advanced metric, goes in the direction of Bo Nix with 46.3 compared to Jayden Daniels' 40.2. And that is accounting for both what they do as passers and as rushers. So you take a look at these 3 layers of stats between these 2 quarterbacks, and certain areas it's Jayden Daniels has the advantage, other areas Bo Nix has the advantage, and it really is extremely close. This is a dead heat between these 2 quarterbacks when you just look at the numbers. So you really have to look at the film, in my opinion, to really come to a conclusion as to which of these quarterbacks truly deserve the Offensive Rookie of the Year trophy through the first 11 weeks of the 2024 NFL season. And still to come here on the show, scouting reports and my decision for both of these quarterbacks. We'll talk about positive and negative traits for both of these guys and what they're showing on film right now. And then I'll tell you who I think is this year's Offensive Rookie of the Year at least to this point. And if you guys want to get a brand new Jayden Daniels jersey in your closet today, you guys can go to chatsports.com/Daniels to pick up this awesome and brand new officially licensed Jayden Daniels Commanders jersey. He is the future of the Washington Commanders. He looks like a budding superstar in the National Football League, guys. So if you want to get this awesome jersey in your closet today, and you want to help out the show a little bit, we get a little bit of the proceeds if you use our link, chatsports.com/Daniels, and make a purchase. So really do appreciate your guys' support. Again, chatsports.com/Daniels, and make a purchase to help out today's show. Speaking of Daniels, let's break down his film here first. And now, obviously, because this is YouTube, I can't show officially licensed video from Jayden Daniels' film because we get demonetized, all right? So I'm going to be breaking down traits that we see on film with these guys and what the positives look like and what the negatives look like for both of these young QBs. The first one for Jayden Daniels in terms of a positive trait is that he is a dynamic rusher. Right now, he is in the same category, in my opinion, as Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson as the most dynamic rushers at the position, at the quarterback position today. He can make guys miss. He's extremely slippery. He picks up those first downs on third and manageable situations when the play breaks down. That's a huge skill set that Jayden Daniels possesses that, we'll talk about Bo Nix and his mobility a little bit later, but it is on a whole nother level when it comes to Jayden Daniels and what he brings to the table. Another really good thing that I like about Jayden Daniels is his pocket presence. This goes back to LSU as well. He's got a very good feel for the pocket, and he has a very good feel for pressure. He's got a very good feel for where the rush lanes are, so if he is trying to escape, he knows where to go, and he's not really confused about that, so I like the pocket presence from him and his ability to feel and maneuver pressure. Then I also love the lightning quick release from Jayden Daniels, man. There's multiple examples this year on film where he is absolutely getting rid of that thing from he is a gunslinger, man. He reminds me a lot of Django, from Django Unchained, man. He's just got the quickest gun in the West, man. He can just pull that thing from the snap of a finger. It is super quick. His ability to throw it just precisely from that hip, and then also he's got super clean throwing mechanics from that quick release, so he can throw it accurately off platform as well. And we take a look at that off platform throwing. I mean, whether it's off his back foot or whether it's on the run, if he doesn't have solid feet, he can absolutely throw accurate, precise footballs, which is definitely a strength of his game, and it really does expand the types of ways that the Commanders' offense can beat you when you have a quarterback that can beat you with his legs the way that he can and then can play make the way that he can from any platform and any arm angle. And I love the touch on his balls, man. I really love the deep ball passing from Jayden Daniels, especially on the fades. This is what he was known for at LSU. He throws a beautiful deep ball with super soft touch, and it's really to all levels of the field as well. This is something I really look at in terms of pocket passers and ability to win from the pocket in the National Football League, because you got to give your guys opportunities to make plays. Jayden certainly does that with the way that he puts touch on his passes. Anticipation is also a strength of Jayden Daniels on film. He gets the ball out, especially on his first read before the receiver is out of his break. Doesn't allow the defense to adjust, and he's really good on that first read as well. I mean, like when Cliff Kingsbury schemes things open for him, he's consistently hitting his guy in stride, and if it's not there, he's consistently not throwing the football too. So he protects the football in that way as well. So these are the 8 things that I really love about Jayden Daniels. He protects the football. He's a dynamic rusher. He can win in multiple ways in and out of the pocket. Also as a rusher, he does a great job with the touch passing and anticipation, and this skill set here is super unique, and it's one of the most complete skill sets, at least physically, in the National Football League, and that's why I'm super excited about this young man. But the negative traits, okay? First up, he drifts and throws off his back foot a little too frequently. I mean, sometimes the Commanders' offensive line gives him great protection, and he still drifts and throws off his back foot. And if you're throwing off your back foot, you're more likely to underthrow. And if anybody that's watched the Commanders this year and has seen Jayden Daniels play knows that if he misses, he usually misses short, okay? And that is what you see with Jayden Daniels, is that he is off his back foot too often. Then also, inconsistent downfield accuracy due to those footwork issues. Because he's not getting his feet set as consistently as he should, it does lead to some underthrows and some accuracy inconsistencies. And then we talked about how Jayden is usually good on that first read earlier in the show, but sometimes he can lock in on that first read too often. The mental processing and the ability to get to 2 to 3 to 4 and on time is an issue at times for Jayden Daniels. And then also as a rusher, we talk about how dynamic this guy is, but sometimes he doesn't protect himself enough when he's running the football. It's the reason why he suffered that rib injury earlier this year, is because he wasn't getting down and he wasn't protecting his body enough. And as a guy as skinny as Jayden Daniels, that's certainly a concern that you see of his on film, and that goes back to college, by the way. Then the last thing here, we talked about it a little bit earlier, he can be late throwing to his secondary reads. He's usually great throwing the ball on time and in rhythm on that first read, but it's always a little bit of an issue with guys just entering the National Football League to hit his second, third, and fourth reads on time and on target. That's certainly something that I'm guessing is going to get better as Jayden Daniels continues on in his career. He's shown the ability to be able to get to his second and third read on time and in stride. It's just he's not doing it enough consistently to be considered one of the best pocket passers in the National Football League today. So now let's go on to Bo Nix, because obviously that's a lot of positives there for Jayden Daniels to contend with if he wants to win Offensive Rookie of the Year this year. And, there's also a lot of great positives with Bo Nix when you watch him on film. First up, pocket presence. All right, I don't think it's quite as good as Jayden Daniels, but I still think it's very good. And I think that he does feel and maneuver pressure at a very high rate, especially as a rookie. And that's something that's definitely going to help him out of structure and help Sean Payton be right even when he's wrong. Second thing that I love about Bo Nix is that he doesn't have the lightning quick release as Jayden Daniels, but it's still very smooth, very good, very clean upper body throwing mechanics, which leads to relatively consistent accuracy. And then we got the touch passing. He's another guy that can put that beautiful touch on the balls down the field. Courtland Sutton has caught a couple of deep shots this year because Bo Nix is given nice loft to those footballs, and he's giving him a shot to make a play on the ball down the field. He's also somebody that's very talented throwing the ball off platform, okay? Whether that's off his back foot or whether that's on the run, Bo Nix is somebody that can make any throw from any platform, which is something that is certainly helping him out when it comes to the off-structure playmaking aspect of his game. And that might be the most underrated aspect of Bo Nix's game, man. He is still a playmaker that we saw from him quite a bit when he was at Auburn, all right? So at Auburn, he was more of a playmaker, and then he went to Oregon, and he was more of a game manager. And his playmaking instincts from Auburn are still very much there, and they're showing in the National Football League. His ability to get outside the pocket or work outside of structure is certainly there. He's not a dynamic rusher, but he's certainly a plus rusher. And then he's also very good throwing in those off-platform situations. And he can see stuff that not a lot of people see in terms of an off-schedule playmaker. He's also very good on his first read, just like Jayden Daniels is. Sean Payton schemes something open, Bo Nix is going to hit him in stride and within the structure of the play just about every single time. That's a huge positive for him. Mental processing, I think, is a little bit better than Jayden Daniels right now. He can more consistently get to that second and third and fourth read on time, in my opinion. That's something that has been a strength of his throughout his time in college and now in the National Football League, in my opinion. And just like Jayden Daniels, he can throw with anticipation, especially on that first read. So that is something that a lot of pro quarterbacks just need to have, especially if you don't have elite arm strength. And Bo Nix does not have elite arm strength. It's a good arm. It's not a great arm. So having that anticipation is definitely something that we needed to see as he entered the National Football League, and he has acclimated that well into the league in his rookie season. Now, the negative traits, okay? Inconsistent accuracy due to sloppy footwork, all right? Sometimes, the footwork is just not as crisp. He doesn't play with a good base at times. Sometimes he can get jittery with his feet, and he can make poor adjustments in the pocket, and that leads to poor body positioning, which, of course, can lead to inaccuracies, all right? So it's pretty consistent, but it's definitely still there, still some rookie mistakes, and he's still getting better when it comes to cleaning up that footwork from Oregon. Then we get to can be late when throwing to his secondary and third reads. And like I said about Jayden Daniels, guys, this is something that is going to happen with rookies quite often because they're not used to getting to second, third, and fourth reads like NFL quarterbacks are supposed to be doing. So sometimes he can be late with these types of reads as well. And then, the thing about Bo Nix is that there's really nothing elite or special about his skill set, right? He's got a good arm, not an elite arm. He's a plus rusher, not a dynamic rusher, right? He's a really good playmaker. I wouldn't say he's on the level of a Mahomes or a Josh Allen or anything like that. So, there's a lot of things about him that you really like, but I don't know if the ceiling is necessarily there to become a true top 5 type MVP type candidate quarterback in the National Football League. And the truth is, guys, when you look at both of these guys, is that they're both good quarterbacks. They're both having really good seasons. I think they're both going to be quarterbacks in this league for a very, very long time. And I think both of them are perfect fits for their offensive play callers. Jayden is perfect for Cliff Kingsbury, and then Sean Payton is perfect for Sean Payton. And, the structure that those offensive play callers have given them has really given them a great foundation to start their NFL careers. But when it comes to which quarterback I would give the Offensive Rookie of the Year trophy to, I would give it to Mr. Jayden Daniels, who won the Heisman Trophy last year, and I'd personally give the trophy so far to Jayden Daniels, especially because I expect him coming off that rib injury. He's getting more and more healthy. I think he's going to get back to being completely dominant like he was in the earlier parts of the season. He's been having a couple of off weeks, which is why I think Bo Nix has caught up to him in some of these stat categories, but I think Jayden Daniels is going to go to a whole nother level once again to finish up the 2024 season. I think at the end of the day here, I think that Jayden's going to be hoisting that Offensive Rookie of the Year trophy. And where JD is better than Bo Nix, and we talked about a lot of the same similarities, right? They're both good on their first read. They both throw with anticipation and touch. There's a lot of similarities. They're both good playmakers outside of structure. But Jayden has the more elite traits, right? He's got the rushing ability that's top 3 at the position right now. And he's got the quicker release, so he can be kind of like that gunslinger more than maybe Bo Nix can be at this point. So I like the skill set from Jayden a bit better, and I think that skill set is going to get him over the top when it's all said and done here. So who's your pick? Let me know down there in the comments section. Who do you think is going to be winning the Offensive Rookie of the Year award in the NFL this season? Type JD if you think Jayden Daniels, or type BM if you think Bo Nix. All right, that'll be it for today's show, guys. Really do appreciate all of your support. Type real one down there in the comment section if you made it to the end of today's program. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support. And don't forget to click that subscribe button because we got Commanders videos on this channel every single day for you guys to enjoy. So without further ado, guys, until next time, go raise some hail. All right, good segment, man. I was feeling it on that one, man.
And John, he was feeling it too, because he came in with a $10 super chat.
John, my man, $10 super chat. How do you say your last name, John? Is it Masood? Is it Masad? I think it's Masood, right?
Masood. That's what I would say.
Okay, yeah.
I'd say Masood or Masoud.
Masoud, yeah.
Because I've got a buddy whose last name's Soud, and it's just S-O-U-D.
Yeah, John, let us know. He says Masood. That's how he say it. Okay. So hopefully, good thing we're saying that right. So John says, keep up the great work. As per usual, don't put me in the drawing. Give to someone else, please. All right, John, we'll give away a raffle entry for you on Sunday when we play the Cowboys. Appreciate you, John. You're a real one. And by the way, I love John because he never wants an entry into the raffle. He always wants to give it to somebody else. He's super generous. We love you. John, thanks for spending your time here on the Commanders Report. And thanks for being so generous with our community, my friend. And you know what? I'm going to make John an honorary member here. Not just an honorary member. I'm going to make him a legit member of Hog Mafia.
Let's go.
So, John, welcome to Hog Mafia. Because of your generosity, we're going to put you in the Hog Mafia today. Thank you so much for being a crucial part of this Commanders community that we got going here on YouTube. All right, coming up next, Commanders versus Cowboys preview. We just got done with a super in-depth video breaking down Jayden Daniels and Bo Nix. Guess what? We got another in-depth video coming up at you right now, guys. If you love in-depth and free Commanders content, this is the place for you guys. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Then also, guys, we're going to be doing the mailbag here pretty soon after this next segment. So if you have a question, you want to get on the show, you have a comment, you got an idea, you got a question you want answered, use hashtag Commanders in the live chat or super chat to get your question guaranteed to be on the show today. All right, Joey, are we ready to get things going here?
Let's rock and roll, baby.
All right, let's get into it right now. This week's Week 12 preview, Commanders versus Cowboys. This week, the Commanders take on the Dallas Cowgirls at home here in Week 12, in a matchup that really does feel like a get-right game for the Washington Commanders, but if they lose, it might be panic time in the nation's capital. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. And before we get into the content today, we got a bunch of great stuff for you guys. Keys to victory, score prediction, trends, all that great stuff. We're actually going to be going live on Sunday for this game, guys, right here on the channel. So if you guys want to come watch the game with us and react to the game, our live coverage of this game starts at 12 p.m. Eastern. We got an hour-long tailgate followed by live and instant reaction. And then we've got extensive post-game coverage as well. So if you love the Commanders, you want to hang out with Commanders fans all across the globe and watch this game with us this weekend, you guys can join us at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you click that click that thumbs up icon as well, because we're going to be going up against the Cowboys Report here. Tom Downey, the host of the Cowboys Report, he messaged me today and said, hey, I got 822 likes on my preview video this week. I bet the Commanders Report can't top that. And I said, bet. So I made him a little bit of a bet, and I bet him a steak dinner that I could top him. So if you guys want to help me win this bet right now, help me out right now. Click that thumbs up icon and help us beat the Cowboys. Okay, let's get into the matchup here, where you've got the Cowboys, who are really in a downward spiral right now, coming into Northwest Stadium in Landover to take on the Washington Commanders, who have lost 2 straight games and are definitely looking to get right after a mini bye week after playing the Eagles on Thursday Night Football last Thursday. So when it comes to the Cowboys and what they want to do schematically, they run kind of a hybrid, kind of pro spread, so it's kind of a hybrid here between the modern pro spread, kind of like the Kansas City Chiefs, what they like to run, and then also the second generation of the West Coast, which is kind of like the Mike Shanahan kind of stuff. And, McCarthy tries to blend it, and it worked well last year, and this year it's just not working, all right? Defenses have completely figured out their scheme and what they like to do. And then on defense here, Mike Zimmer was instilled as the new defensive coordinator after Dan Quinn ended up coming here to Washington, and it's just been absolutely terrible. His defense is super outdated. They've dealt with injuries and all this stuff. Speaking of injuries, the IR here is pretty full for the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, their starting quarterback, is out. Also, DeMarcus Lawrence is out with a foot injury, and their edge rusher room is completely bereft of talent on the IR. Sam Williams and Marshawn Nealon are also on the IR this week. And then there's a bunch of players that are questionable. Brandon Cooks has been on IR, but he might come back this week. Jake Ferguson is in concussion protocol. Mike McCarthy said that he's probably doubtful to play this week. Also, Jordan Lewis and Deron Bland did not play on Monday Night Football this week, so will they really be ready to go on a short week here against the Commanders? I guess we'll see. Then also, during the game on Monday, when they got killed by the Texans, by the way, Tyler Smith, Zach Martin, and Tyler Guyton, 3 of their starting offensive linemen went out with injuries. So, that's a lot of starters that are injured right now. And that's not even counting the ones on IR that we already talked about. So let's talk about the key offensive pieces for the Cowboys here. Cooper Rush is going to be the starting quarterback. Mike McCarthy already said so. CeeDee Lamb is really their only game-changing type of talent on this team, in my opinion. They've got a kind of a below-average running back duo in Rico Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott, and then Jake Ferguson, if he plays, is a pretty good tight end, I guess. Then you look at the stat comparison here between the Commanders' offense and the Commanders' defense and the Cowboys' offense, I should say. And you guys can see the Commanders' defense isn't all that good, but they still have the advantage in just about every single category in terms of where they rank in the National Football League. The Cowboys are currently giving up the most turnovers in the National Football League right now, so hopefully the Commanders' defense can fly around and collect some of those turnovers here. Certainly would give the Commanders the advantage here when it comes to the trends. Now you look at the points per game trends here. The Cowboys are giving up or scoring 18.7 points per game, and the Commanders are giving up 22.1, which would predict that the Cowboys score about 20 points on the road this week in Washington. Then we get over to the defensive side of the ball, and they've still got some pretty good talent on this side of the ball here. Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs are their 2 best players on defense that are healthy. Digizua is a decent interior player, I guess, and then Deron Bland, if he plays, is a pretty good number 2 corner. Chauncey Goldston has come in and been a pretty decent edge rusher with all the injuries that they have on the edge here. And this is not even close, guys. Look at this. You think the Cowboys' offense stinks? Their defense has stunk this year as well. 31st in points per game allowed. Absolutely terrible. They're also dead last in red zone percentage, so the Commanders should have no issue getting into the end zone if they can get into the red area. And this is certainly an opportunity here for Jayden Daniels in the Commanders' offense, currently 4th in points per game in the National Football League, to get right after 2 kind of rougher performances against the Steelers and the Eagles. The points per game trends here between these 2 units, 28 points for the Commanders versus 29.3 for the Cowboys defense. That's awful, and that predicts about 28 points for the Washington Commanders at home against the Cowgirls here, which of course would predict a 28-20 victory for Washington. And if anybody knows about cross-referencing and averages and all this stuff, an 8-point deficit here in terms of the averages is quite a bit, so the trends certainly give the Commanders a heavy advantage going into Sunday's matchup. So still to come here on the Commanders Report, we got the keys to victory versus the Cowboys. I got 6 of them for the Commanders this week. Then we'll get into my full scouting report on quarterback Cooper Rush, and then I got my score prediction for Cowboys versus Commanders here in Week 12. So don't go anywhere because that's coming at the end of today's show. But before we get into the rest of today's content, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks. And Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action all on your phone this football season. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Also, Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Reach Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineup. So you guys can see my lineup here for Thursday Night Football between the Steelers and the Browns. I'm going to take the more on Russell Wilson passing yards. I mean, seriously, 182.5. I definitely think he's going to get more than that. I'll take more on George Pickens. He's been unbelievable since Russell Wilson was instilled as the starter. And I'll take the more on Jameis Winston on interceptions. That Steelers defense really does a good job turning the football over. Jameis is a turnover-prone quarterback, so I'm going to take the more on that. So if you guys want to get in on the action before Thursday Night Football or before the action starts on Sunday, download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly when you use code CLNS after playing your first $5 lineup on the Prize Picks app today. Prize Picks, run your game. So here are my weekly keys. These are kind of the blueprint to win any football game. If you win the line of scrimmage, you win 3rd and 4th downs, you win in the red zone, you win the turnover battle, you don't beat yourself with stupid penalties and turnovers, and you make the play in the 4th quarter to put it away, you will win the football game. If you can get 4 out of the 6 of these, usually you're the one that ends up winning the football game. Okay, now let's get into the more specific keys to victory for the Commanders to beat the Cowboys. First up, you got to get after Cooper Rush. And, you know, Cooper has come in and he hasn't played all that well in relief of Dak Prescott this season. He's completing less than 60% of his passes for just 566 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. And honestly, it should be more interceptions than that. He could have, I think there was like 3 dropped interceptions last week against the Houston Texans. Take a look here at my scouting report here on Cooper Rush, I should say. Mental processing is pretty good. The accuracy is okay, and the footwork, I guess, is fine for a veteran. But the cons here, the arm talent and the strength just isn't there. The ball dies on him consistently. The athleticism isn't good enough whatsoever to create outside of structure. And then the playmaking out of structure is just not there. He's pretty much got to have it in his first or second read, or it's completely dead. And then his decision-making, I think, has gone down the toilet here this season compared to years past. I think he's a solid backup quarterback that, you know, in a pinch, and if you have a good football team, you can go out and win football games for you. He showed that a couple years back when the Cowboys were actually good. He came in and he was still, functional in this Cowboys offense. So if you put the right stuff around him, he could be okay, but they have not put the right stuff around him this year, and you guys see the result. Okay, then the one player that I'm actually afraid of here on the Cowboys offense, I'm not scared of Rico Dowdle. I'm not scared of old Zeke. All right, I'm not scared of Cooper Rush, at least not when he's throwing to CeeDee Lamb, because CeeDee Lamb is an absolute beast, and he is still a beast, okay? Now, when it comes to Marshawn Lattimore, all right, it would certainly nice to have him out there to guard him, but right now he's questionable to play with that hamstring injury. And honestly, I think the Commanders are going to play it pretty safe. If he's not 100%, I wouldn't expect Marshawn Lattimore to be out there on Sunday afternoon. But whether Marshawn plays or not, I think you got to double CeeDee Lamb. And honestly, lots of defenses are doubling CeeDee Lamb on their tape right now, and for good reason. They don't have a whole lot of other help like Jalen Tolbert and, Jake Ferguson and, they've got Brandon Cooks, and they've got some decent players, I guess, but it's nothing close to what CeeDee Lamb provides for them out of the slot, out wide. This guy is a route-running technician. He's got great hands and body control. He was my offensive player of the year last year, man. He was absolutely phenomenal last season. Obviously, this year it hasn't gone quite as well after getting paid, but sometimes that's just how it goes. So subscribe today if you haven't already for in-depth Commanders content like this video every single day. We put out these previews every single week to get you guys ready for every Commanders matchup. We give it to you guys 100% free. So if you want to join So if you guys want to join our community today and help us get to 30,000 subscribers, we're getting really, really close, guys. Would really, really appreciate it if you click that subscribe button right now. Okay, then we get to the another key to victory here on offense in particular, and you got to move the chains against the Cowboys defense because we saw it in the trends earlier when we had the trends up. The best thing about this Cowboys defense is that they can sometimes get teams off the field on third down. So if the Commanders can keep the drive moving and convert on those third downs, you're going to win the game, all right? Because they're terrible in the red zone. They're terrible in terms of getting up chunk plays, and they don't turn the ball over very often either. You guys can see the trends here again. They're 11th in third down percentage, and that is by far their best thing that they do. So if the Commanders, who are 8th in third down percentage right now, can win that matchup and can convert at a higher clip than normal and in the league average, they're going to be able to put themselves in a position to win this football game, plain and simply. So how do you do that? First, you got to have your quarterback get his swagger back, all right? The last 2 weeks have not gone particularly well for Jayden Daniels against two really good defenses. The Steelers and Eagles defenses are very good. They got good pass rushes. They got in his grill, and they made him uncomfortable. This is the week to get right, all right? He's had a mini bye. He's as healthy as he ever has been since the rib injury versus the Panthers in Week 7, and he's out of excuses now. It's a bad defense. He's fully healthy. He's had ample time to prepare. This has to be the game where Jayden Daniels comes back in a fiery way, all right? I want to see a dominant performance from JD5 on Sunday. If we don't see that dominant performance, it might be time to panic about this young man and his ability to potentially win an Offensive Rookie of the Year trophy. Then we get to the offensive line. They need to step up. Last 2 weeks have not been very good for the O-line. Let's just call it what it is. They've given up a ton of pressure, and they have not protected the quarterback all that well, especially Andrew Wiley on the right tackle spot. Now, the good news is 3 of the edge rushers on this Cowboys team are on IR, all right? So you're going to be dealing with Micah Parsons, who is legitimately an elite edge rusher. He's dealt with some injuries this year, but he is back. And then you also got Golston, who's a pretty good edge rusher as well. But honestly, man, this is something that the Commanders should be able to hold up against. And I think JD is going to have a good game this week against the Cowboys. Then we get to the final one here, and it's in my every week keys, but I wanted to absolutely make this abundantly clear because I think the only way the Cowboys beat the Commanders is if the Commanders beat themselves. I do not think that the Cowboys are capable of beating the Commanders with the talent that they have right now. If the Commanders beat themselves, they could lose this game. But I don't think they're going to, guys. I think they're going to win this one. I think they're pissed off. I think they're trying to get back in the win column. They have something to prove here because there's a lot of people doubting this Washington Commanders team right now. I think they're going to have a very convincing win here. I'm going to go 30-13 in an absolute blowout on Sunday. I think that the Washington Commanders get the job done here. I think Jayden Daniels reasserts himself at the top of the heap for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think the run game gets going again. I think Terry McLaurin might have multiple touchdowns on double moves against Trayvon Diggs. I think it's going to be a fun Sunday, man, so make sure you join us for that watch party on Sunday because we're going to be having a lot of fun here on the Commanders Report. And listen, man, when it comes to this game, this is a game that you absolutely should win on paper. So if you don't win it, I think it's time to really panic here in Washington. 3 straight losses, especially this game here against an inferior opponent at home. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Commanders are going to win in a dominant fashion here. But if they lose this game, it's definitely one that you shouldn't have lost, and I'm going to be a little bit worried if they take the L for the 3rd straight week in a row. So now it's your turn. Let me know down there in the comments section. Predict the score of Commanders versus Cowboys in Week 12. Let me know what you guys are thinking down there in the comments section. I've got 30-13. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, like I said, we're going to be going live 12 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday to cover this game live with you guys. So I really do appreciate all of your support. So if you want to join our family today, click that subscribe button. And until next time, guys, go raise some hail. All right.
Did you see how cheap, we were talking about it earlier in the office, how cheap Thanksgiving Day tickets are for the Cowboys game?
Yeah, that game, what is it, Cowboys-Giants?
Yeah, DeVito versus Rush.
I mean, there's going to be people bringing chicken cutlets to AT&T Stadium, man.
Yeah, it's...
you're going to be bringing the gabagool, you know?
Yeah, I might just smuggle me in there a chicken parm sandwich. It's going to be... I think it was like $45 to get in.
The chicken parm sandwich is unbelievable, man. All right, so let us know in the comments. So let's see what people have. Jasmine Grace says 30-13 Commanders. Jasmine, like the way you think. That was my score prediction. Eugene thinks it's going to be 56-10 Dallas. Oh, no, Washington 56, Dallas 10. There we go. Christian Andujar thinks 45-10 Commanders. John Masood says 30-13. Sounds good. Richard Barker says 35-20 Commanders win. James is saying 28-10 Commanders. Krabby Turtle says 42-9. Good stuff there. So, Joey, what do you think about this game? What's your score prediction for this weekend?
I've never seen Dallas this dead. Watching that Monday night game and seeing the amount of Texans fans there and the lack of Cowboys fans, I think they're really trying to send a message to Jerry Jones and say, hey, the product you're putting on the field, the product you have a head coach, and how you are actually operating as a GM and owner of this team, we're fed up with it. It's unacceptable. Now it's going to be interesting to see with what Jerry does with that information.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of happy that the Commanders were a big part in the Cowboys' demise here. They took their defensive coordinator and their defensive backs coach away from them.
Yep.
And now they bring in old Mike Zimmer that, is still running like a 2010 defense out there, still running like classic Seattle 3 defensive stuff. Just doesn't work.
He's got the glasses on the tip of his nose.
Yeah, he looks like an old man reading a fucking library book on the sideline, and honestly, his defense looks like an old man called it.
What are your thoughts on the Dion rumors as of recent of him in Dallas?
I see why people are talking about Dion to Dallas. It's not going to happen, though. They've already paid Dak, so I don't think that it just doesn't make sense to trade him because you take on so much dead cap.
Yeah.
I think Jerry will entertain the idea, but I think Steven will be like, we can't do that because we'll take on like $200 million in dead cap. And Jerry will have to oblige because you're not going to be taking on that much dead cap to trade Dak. So I think Dion, I don't think it's a question whether or not he's going to go to Dallas. I think the question is he going to go to the Raiders? Because
Florida State. Because we're talking everything.
Because right now it sounds like Shedeur wants to go to Las Vegas because every time they lose, he tweets out, "Thank you, God."
Really?
Every time.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and that's a thing. And also, Shedeur and Prime are very close with Antonio Pierce. They're close with Tom Brady, and they're close with Mark Davis. All right, and it's in Vegas. It's like Shedeur Sanders. A big attraction in Vegas. They got all the brand new facilities. It's on the West Coast, so it's relatively close to Colorado.
Yeah.
If Prime decides to stay there with the Buffs, like it just makes too much sense for him to go to Vegas if they're going to go father and son to an NFL team.
I just don't know why any quarterback would ever pound the table to go to Las Vegas, given their history with quarterbacks.
Right, but the reasons I just laid out.
Yes, that's fair, but man, what talent do they have?
Tom Brady, their friends are running the organization.
Yes, it's crazy.
It is an iconic franchise.
It is. But zero talent offensively on that roster.
Oh, I agree. Don't get me wrong. And here's the thing. Tom Brady is a big benefactor of sit young quarterbacks. So I actually think if they draft Shedeur, he might not play for the first year. They might bring in a veteran next year in free agency, and Tom Brady's going to be like, it's not a good idea to play Shedeur right away. And they're going to sit him for the entire first year at least. All right? Then when they get a little bit more talent, via the draft, via free agency, they build up a little bit more, maybe with a new head coach, maybe it's Prime. Then they can put Shedeur in when he's ready. And I honestly think that'd be a good situation for Shedeur. I really do.
Dude, could Shedeur and Bowers be the next Kelsey and Mahomes?
Bowers is unbelievable,
He's
man.
unbelievable.
We talked about Daniels and Nix. I think Brock Bowers should be in the conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year, too. He's been phenomenal this year. He's their best offensive player by far in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah, and he's doing it with what? Gardner Minshew throwing the football?
Yeah,
it's insane.
Aiden O'Connell and Desmond Ritter.
Yeah, Desmond freaking Ritter.
He's their best receiver right now as a tight end and as a rookie. That is unbelievable.
It is. It's phenomenal. And I mean, being a Tennessee alum, I had to watch him absolutely dominate my Vols time in, time out, and time in again. And, man, it wasn't hard to think that guy was going to be special at the next level.
How are we doing on questions here?
We've got one, so we got some room to go.
No, we don't.
We've got one usable.
One usable question?
Yes. Two.
I saw people earlier on putting in hashtag Commanders. Are those just not usable?
Yeah, there's two that are good questions.
All right, so get your questions in, guys. If you have a question, if you got a question about anything, it doesn't even have to be about the Commanders. If you guys want to ask something about Shedeur Sanders or the draft or whatever, go ahead and ask the question. Use hashtag Commanders in the live chat. An example is like JG. JG put in hashtag Commanders down there, and then put his question at the end. All right, so make sure you guys put your questions in. Hashtag Commanders or Super Chat. And honestly, at this point, just hashtag Commanders. You get on the show for free.
Yeah, it's you got to do hashtag Commanders, then ask the question, or ask the question, then do hashtag Commanders. If you don't do that, we won't be able to pull it up in the software. You won't be able to make it up on the show. We got 62 people watching. I know y'all are curious. I know y'all are here watching a live show at 5:45 y'all's time on a Wednesday. So let's go. Let's get on the show. Let's this is your chance. This is your time. Great question from JG. If you got any, let us know and type them down there.
There we go, Eugene. There we go, Eugene.
There we go.
Right.
Great question.
So here's
Eugene.
what we're going to do, Joey.
Yes.
You guys get your questions in while we start the mailbag here. We're gonna start the mailbag, and if it's 8 minutes, it's 8 minutes. Okay? So while we are doing the mailbag, if you guys have questions that come up, please submit your questions. And if they're a good enough question, Joey will put it on the mailbag, guys. So appreciate your guys' support. Thanks for getting your questions in. We're not going to sit here and wait for 5 more questions or whatever to come in. So we'll just get into the mailbag right now. However many questions come in is what the number will be. And I can't wait to get things going here, and I can't wait to see what questions you guys have for me today. So without further ado, let's get into our final segment today. The Commanders Report Live Mailbag is coming at you right now. Welcome into the Commanders Report. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today it is the live mailbag here on the Commanders Report, where you guys ask your questions, and I get to answer your questions right here on the show. It's my favorite segment to do every week because you guys get to tell me directly what Commanders topics you want me to cover each and every week. I can't wait to get into it right now. Before we get into the content today, go ahead and click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support. We have the largest interactive Commanders fan community here on YouTube. We have a weekly live show at 5 p.m. Eastern Time where we film these mailbags. If you want to get your question on a future edition, go ahead and click that subscribe button and join us on Wednesdays. And we also have live watch parties every single Commanders game as well. So if you guys want to join this awesome community of Commanders fans, make sure you click that subscribe button right now. Okay, let's get to our first question here, which comes from JG. It says, are you buying the excuses given the drop-off and JD5's accuracy? So the thing about Jayden is that he does throw the ball off his back foot and he drifts in the pocket a bit too much. All right, do I think that the rib injury might have affected him a little bit? Maybe. Okay, we'll see throughout the rest of the season. But honestly, he's had some accuracy issues all season. It's just gotten a little bit worse since the injury. So we'll see here. I feel like the teams that can put pressure on Jayden more consistently, like the Steelers and Eagles did, tend to bring this lack of accuracy out of Jayden out a little bit more. We're going to find out over the next several weeks whether this accuracy issue that we've seen these last 2 weeks is a legitimate problem for JD. But it's definitely a good question here, JG, and I can't wait to find out the answer here on the Commanders Report this year. Got one from John. What's up, John? Says, Commanders, or hashtag Commanders, are the Commanders willing to go to war for Dan Quinn the way the Lions are for Dan Campbell to finish the job? Blown second half advantages are a concern over strength and conditioning. So here's what I'd say, John. I think that this team has fully bought into the culture. All right, you listen to anybody in that locker room, they love Dan Quinn. They'll run through a brick wall for this guy. And Dan Quinn is one of these guys that is one of the most respected people in the National Football League. He was able to build such a great staff around him, because so many people want to work with him. The energy and the positivity he brings to the building every single day, it's very similar to what Campbell has brought to the Detroit Lions. So listen, man, when Dan Campbell first started there in Detroit, it took a couple years to get things going, a couple of unsuccessful seasons before they were able to build something pretty special there in Detroit now. And honestly, Dan Quinn has expedited that process here where they look like they're something special really early on in his tenure. So yes, I think that this team absolutely has bought into this culture and to this head coach. And I do think that this is a team that's going to go to war for him and all that stuff towards the end of the year. Then we got one from Culver's Lover. Wow. It says, how good will the Commanders' defense be when Marshawn Lattimore plays? So this is a good question because we just don't know, right? Marshawn Lattimore is a great man-to-man corner. He's a true number one. That's something that the Commanders team has been lacking all season. And I do think the Commanders do get better. The question is, how much better do they get with Marshawn Lattimore in there? With the offense, if they can get back to playing top 3 level football, Culver's level, the defense doesn't have to get that much better for this to become a truly elite team come playoff time, right? They can just have an above average defense, and I do think they can get there with Marshawn Lattimore as their CB1. So fill in the blank for me today. The Commanders have a top blank defense with Marshawn Lattimore at CB1. Do they have a top 15, top 10? Do you think they're still overrated whenever he comes in? This will be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Going from James Faison here, says, how do we contain CD Lamb this week? So the way that you do it, if you have Marshawn Lattimore in there, that helps a lot, all right? Because you don't have to have Benjamin St. Juste or Mike Sainristil on him, even though I thought they did a pretty good job on A.J. Brown last Thursday. But Marshawn Lattimore is obviously the best guy on the team, so it'd be nice to have him. But whether you have Marshawn or not, I think that you double him consistently, all right? Whether that's a stubby from the slot or whether that's just a true double on the outside with safety help over the top. He's just the one guy that can consistently beat you over the top there, and I just don't really see him or don't really see anybody else on that Cowboys offense beating you in the way that CD Lamb can. So most defenses have been doubling CD all season long, and it's worked quite well. I expect the Commanders to have a similar game plan on Sunday. Got one from Eugene here. Says, what do the Commanders need to address in the offseason? Quite a bit, in my opinion, Eugene. They still need to address offensive line. Andrew Wiley's going to be a free agent. Nick Allegretti, the left guard spot might be addressed as well. I think they're going to add another receiver as well. I think what they have for the rest of the season is good enough, but I think they're going to want to add another piece with Terry McLaurin getting a little bit older. Then on defense, I think that you probably want to get some more depth along the defensive line. I think that you want to get some more help in the secondary alongside Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Sainristil. There's definitely things that you can address if you are the Washington Commanders, but those would probably be the primary ones, at least in my opinion. Okay, before we get into the rest of the questions here on the Commanders Report Mailbag, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks, which is the best place to get real money sports action all on your phone this football season. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Also, Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus, guys. It's guaranteed when you play that first $5 lineup. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, where every Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. For Thursday Night Football, my lineup this week, I got Russell Wilson on the more for passing yards, the more on receiving yards for George Pickens, and the more on interceptions for Jameis Winston going up against that ravenous Steelers defense. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly when you use code CLNS after playing your first $5 lineup on the Prize Picks app today. Prize Picks, run your game. Tager coming in here says, how concerned are you about Jayden Daniels at this juncture? If I had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say I'm at about a 4. Last 2 games, difficult defenses to go up against, man. Great pass rushes, Steelers, Eagles, very good teams. And obviously the lack of playing time because of his rib injury has affected his preparation. So now that he's back to fully healthy, he had a full week of practice. He's going to have a full week of practice this week. I feel good about his chances of going out there against the Commanders, or not against the Cowboys, I should say, and really having a good week and having a bounce-back week, reasserting himself at the top of the heap in the offensive rookie of the year standings here at this juncture. So I'm not too concerned, but obviously, when you see the accuracy issues, you see him locking on to his first target too often, when you see him throwing off his back foot and underthrowing guys too often. Those aren't necessarily injury things, so those are certainly things he needs to clean up here as we approach the end of the 2024 season. So let me know down there in the comments section, what's your concern level for Jayden Daniels at this point in the year? Put it on a scale of 1 to 10 for me down there in the comments section. Like I said, I'm at about a 4, maybe a 3. Let me know what you guys are thinking down there in the comments section. Going from Anthony J505 says, what college cornerbacks are catching your eye in next year's draft? So there's quite a few of them. If you're talking about guys in the first round here, Will Johnson from Michigan is obviously phenomenal. Travis Hunter is also a very, very good cornerback. I'm a big fan of Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame. Great man corner, would be a great fit here in Washington on the other side of Marshawn Lattimore. It would allow you to put Mike Samershill in the slot where he's more comfortable. I'm also a big fan of Siobhan Revel out of East Carolina, the Pirates there. Very big, long corner that could fit into this defense quite well. Those are guys that I've got my eye on. But honestly, this is a good cornerback class in my opinion. Good up front with the edge rushers. Really good on the offensive tackles as well. And then cornerback and running back are two other positions that I really like in this draft class as well. So those are some names that I would throw out there. Well, make sure you guys like the video if you haven't already. If you want to win in Week 12 versus the Cowgirls, that team is in a downward spiral right now. And it looks like the Commanders might have a chance to sweep the Cowboys this year. So if you want to secure the sweep and you want to start that off with a win in Week 12, click that thumbs up icon right now. Going from my man Eric says, are you worried about Zacchaeus dropping balls? I'm worried about everybody dropping balls, man. I'm worried about Noah Brown dropping balls. I'm worried about Zach Ertz dropping balls. I'm worried about De'Ami Brown dropping balls. But I think with Zacchaeus specifically, you're talking about special teams. The answer to that question is yes. Whenever you take 2 balls off the face, pause. Taking 2 balls off the face in a row in a Steelers game there, that's not good, right? Now, he did a better job against the Eagles. Didn't have 1 muff punt. But it's definitely something to keep your eye on. So right now, I'm a little bit concerned if he has another bad game like that. I think he's done. The pressure's on with Olamide Zacchaeus in terms of the punt return game right now. Got Beat the Skeet with a nice profile picture there. Says, what do you say about the fraudulent claims that we haven't beaten a good team yet? So obviously they have beaten a good team, and that was the Arizona Cardinals. They beat the Arizona Cardinals on the road, and they spanked them. All right, so they have beaten a good team. Now, I do think there are some people, when you look at the record, the collective record of all the teams the Commanders have beaten, it's like a 33% win rate. So it isn't very good. It's one of the lowest in the league among the teams that, the team has beaten. You lose to teams like the Steelers, you lose teams like the Eagles, and, you're beating teams like Carolina and New York twice and all the bad teams that the Commanders have played. People are going to call you frauds, right? But that doesn't mean they haven't played any good teams. They killed the Arizona Cardinals. And, I think that this team is really going to make a statement against Philly when they play in about a month again, all right? At home, I think that, because you're not coming off that short week, because you aren't coming off a tough game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I actually think the Commanders have a great shot at splitting with the Eagles this year. And if they can beat the Eagles at home, down the home stretch, I think people will begin to believe in this Commanders team again. Then we got one from 674 Gators. Says, what are the chances that the Commanders win a playoff game this year? It's a rookie quarterback who does have some issues in his game. He's still getting better, right? He's a great talent, but he is still dealing with some issues, okay? Throwing off his back foot too often, locking onto his first read too often, all that stuff. Those are things that are fixable in my opinion. So we'll see how it goes the rest of the year. Plus, you got a head coach in his first year with the team. That doesn't bode well in terms of teams making the playoffs with a first-year head coach. So I'd put their chances of winning a playoff game this year at around 35 to 45%. I'd probably go around 45% at this point. I think that this is a good team, and I think it gets even better when you add Marshawn Lattimore into the mix. Now, I think that Jayden needs to get better towards the home stretch here in order for you to have a shot in the playoff game. And he's going to have to play well in that playoff game to be able to win it. But it's definitely not impossible, and I'm going to put it close to 50-50 odds, but I'll give it a little bit less than that. I'll put it at about a 45% shot. So predict it for me down there in the comments section. Will the Commanders win a playoff game this year? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comments section. I could see arguments for either yes or no here, so let me know what you're thinking down there in the comments. Thank you to everybody that submitted questions this week. I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, go raise some hail. All right, Joey. It's time to wrap it up here, my friend.
Absolutely crushed that. Speaking playoffs, Who's a dark horse in either of the conferences that you feel like could possibly make a run?
Do the Steelers count as a dark horse?
I think they would have a couple weeks ago. I don't know if they do anymore.
Yeah, because I still feel like a lot of people are doubting the Steelers.
That's fair.
Because they don't think Russell Wilson's a good quarterback. And, Russell Wilson is like, I'm not even sure if he's a top 15 quarterback, but I think he's perfect for what they do there. Throwing the ball deep, finding his check down, and winning games in the clutch. That's what Russell Wilson does.
It's what he's always done.
He's got a limited skill set at this point in his career, but everything that the Steelers are asking him to do is what he does well. So he's a perfect fit for them. They can beat you in a bunch of different ways. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers a lot in the AFC. Another team to keep your eye on is the Chargers.
Yeah.
Very talented bunch. I love Justin Herbert. Jim Harbaugh is a guy that's really doing a great job building a culture there in L.A. Defense is playing good football, obviously. So keep your eye on L.A., even though I hate their offensive coordinator, Greg Roman. The passing attack.
He sucks.
The passing attack is absolutely terrible in terms of the schematics. But obviously Justin Herbert and his just sheer talent makes up for a lot of that, right? So that's a good team. Nobody's going to want to play the Chargers in the postseason either. The two teams, the AFC teams are not going to want to play in the postseason, the Chargers and the Steelers, because teams do not beat teams the following week after playing a physical team like those two teams.
Yeah.
So if you're an AFC team, you don't want to play the Steelers or the Chargers in the playoffs. Go ahead, yeah.
Sorry, speaking of the Chargers, Christian, I saw your question. Sorry, I am just now answering them. He asked me how confident I was in Baltimore beating the Chargers on Monday night. I feel pretty good about it. Lamar is 5-1 in his career on Monday Night Football. He's 17-5 in primetime games, which is the best record of any quarterback since 1970. I think it's going to be a big bounce-back game. Los Angeles doesn't have a crazy road environment. You're not playing in any sort of weather or elements or things like that, which Lamar has tended to struggle in. And so I feel good about Baltimore on Monday night.
Not so fast, sweetheart. I think that the Ravens lose on Monday night to the Los Angeles Chargers. They're on the road. They're playing a game after a physical game against the Steelers. It's tough to play the Steelers the next week. Teams are 0-7 after playing the Steelers this year. Now, I know what you're going to say. Lamar Jackson's 3-1 after playing the Steelers. Well, you're not playing another physical team like the Chargers every single time.
That is fair.
It's going to be tough to go from physical team in the Steelers, physical team on the road versus LA. We saw what it did against the Commanders last week in the Eagles game. Now, obviously, that's a short week. That's a little bit different. But I think that Justin Herbert and the Chargers is going to be a close game. I don't think
close?
I don't think Baltimore is going to completely crumble like Washington did last week.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good, high-scoring game. But I think at home, Justin Herbert delivers a game-winning drive, and they beat them on Monday Night Football. And then I think they lose to the Eagles the next week.
No, the slide.
And they're going to go to 7-6. Book it right now. The Baltimore Ravens will be at 7-6.
I think I would put a lot of money they don't lose both of those games. I would.
What's that?
I said I'd put a lot of money they don't lose both of those games. But I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll see, man. Okay. That's going to be it for today's show. I appreciate your guys' support. We will see you guys on Sunday for our live watch party. It starts at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So thank you guys so much for watching today's show. And we had a bunch of great content today. It was a lot of fun talking some Commanders football with you guys. So until next time, go raise some hail.